Today, we are making a recipe straight out of my mom's recipe box. It is her signature apple tea cake. This cake is loaded with crisp, juicy apples and walnuts, and it's even got a secret ingredient that you're not gonna believe that takes the flavor over the top. I'm Christina with It Is a Keeper, and I share tried and true recipes like anyone can make, like this apple tea cake. You are gonna love it. So let me show you how to make it. Okay, so let's start making our apple tea cake. First thing we're going to add is shortening. So right there, you could tell this is a vintage recipe, right? Because you don't see shortening in a lot of recipes. So we're gonna add that in. You can use it from the can, or I just have the squares and I cut them up just so they would fit in my pretty bowl. You don't have to do that. Next up is some sugar. And then to that, we're going to add a few eggs. And as a tip, room temperature eggs incorporate so much easier than cold eggs right out of the fridge. So if you know you're gonna make this cake, take your eggs out a little early and let them come up to room temperature. Okay, so we're gonna get this all mixed up until the sugar and the shortening and the eggs have combined and it's light and fluffy. Okay, so our shortening, sugar, and eggs are completely combined. That looks perfect. Next, we're going to work on our dry ingredients. So here I have some flour, and to this I'm going to add baking soda. And the baking soda is going to give it this nice brown color. And a little bit of salt. And then I'm just going to take a fork, just kind of mix these together. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we will add this into we're gonna add that into our shortening and sugar. And back with the mixer. Okay, and it's going to be a little chunky here because we really don't have any liquid in here. So we're gonna take care of that right now. So to this mixture, we are going to add our secret ingredient. And that is some freshly brewed coffee. I know, sounds weird, but trust me on this. Trust me. To that, we're going to add our apples. And I like to use, I think these are Snapdragon apples. I like to use an apple that has a nice firm texture because you don't want it to get mushy when it bakes, and that has a nice tart flavor. So Granny Smith would work great in this. Macintosh, Jonah Gold. You want to stay away from like the Red Delicious that are going to like fall apart. They just don't have enough structure to hold up when they bake. So you want a nice firm apple for this and the tart flavor. We're also going to add some cinnamon and some walnuts. Now, of course, if you're not a nut fan, you could leave those out. Back in with the mixer, we're going to get all of that combined. Start this on low because we have the apples and everything in there. We don't want things to go flying. Okay, that is looking great. I'm gonna finish the last little bit by hand because then I can make sure I get everything scraped from the bottoms and the sides. So just take your spatula and just make sure you don't have any dry pockets anywhere in there. So here I have a tube pan. You can use a tube pan or a bundt pan, whichever you have, it's fine. One thing you want to make sure though is that it is very well greased. So you can use some of your shortening to grease this up. That works excellent. You could use butter. I'm using some nonstick cooking spray. But when you do it, you want to make sure you get the bottoms, all of the edges, and that tube in the middle. And I'm very liberal with it because I don't want anything to stick. Okay, so we're gonna transfer this batter. I like to drop it into the pan around because it's not really a loose batter. So this will make sure you have a nice even coating around the pan. And if some falls out, it's okay, we'll get it. It's a nice chunky batter from those apples and the walnuts. Get everything off the spatula and in there. And then I just take my spatula and run it around and just smooth everything out so we have a nice even layer all the way around. You don't want one side to have too much piled up higher than the others. Perfect. One final step before we pop this in the oven is we need to make a little bit of a topping. So here I have some brown sugar, and to that I'm going to add just a little bit of cinnamon and just give it a quick stir to get everything together. And then I just like to use my fingers for this part, but I'll just go in and just sprinkle a nice even coating around the entire cake. Ta-da! That looks beautiful. We are going to pop this into a preheated oven and let it bake for about 45 to 55 minutes depending on your oven. And when it comes out, wait till you see what we have. So our cake has come out of the oven. It's completely cooled, so I'm able to touch the pan. So I'm just going to, mine's a springform pan, so I'm going to pop it open. If yours isn't a springform, that's perfectly fine. Voila! I have unmolded the cake. It looks beautiful. I can't wait to dive into this. So I'm gonna cut a healthy slice from right here. Just look at that. You can see the apple pieces in there and the walnuts. This is the best part of my job. I love my job. Going in. This is so good. It has such a nice chewy texture, and the apples give it such a bright flavor. And it's called tea cake because I really want a cup of tea right now to go with this. It would just be the perfect accompaniment. Oh, you guys, you have to try this. This apple tea cake is definitely a keeper. I just love how the coffee brings everything to life. And if you want another great apple recipe to make when you get home from the orchard, try my apple fritters. You're gonna love those too. Thanks for watching. You can get the full printable recipe in the video description below. I'll see you next time. Bye.